Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All praises to the ever-present Great Spirit, whose magnitude is incomprehensible and whose presence is everywhere. And without the virtue of his presence, none of us and none of this would be made possible. It's your boy DARRYL KOSMON, Love and Light 2, Lions Den, Love and Light 2 Creator Gang, who's in the building. Hmm? Love and Light. We're gonna get up, we're gonna get, you know how I do, y'all. We could be cutthroat. We getting right to the presentation. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. And by the way, Miss Karima, thanks for having me, sister. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you once again.
You're welcome.
And I,
Give me just a moment while I get myself set up, y'all. All right, go ahead and share my screen. We're gonna do entire screen. We're gonna do this one. Hit that share button. Okay, pull up this here. All right. All right, love and light to the chat. Love and light to the chat. Creator gang. I see you in there. I see you. Hey, we gonna get right to the business. We gonna get right to the business. How's it looking? How's my audio?
Your audio's good and your screen is up.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sister Karima. All right, here we go, y'all. The topic tonight is let there be vortex. Let there be vortex. It's vortex is a motion. It is a motion that gets highly overlooked and is misunderstood. But we're gonna get up into what this is. But first, you know, DARRYL KOSMON got to warm y'all up to it. You know what I'm talking about? This is let there be vortex, the science of sky, earth, spirit. The science of sky, earth, spirit. All right, let's go. Let's get up into this. We're gonna kick this off with from Owaspy, Book of Owaspy, Book of Discipline, chapter 5, verses 10 and 11. We're gonna go ahead and read through this, and we're gonna go ahead and do the slowdown. Here it is, verse 10. Jehovah is as near this day, right here in the present. Jehovah, the great spirit, is as near this day, right here in the present, as in the time of the ancients. That's the past. That's before us. Hmm? The great spirit says to put ourselves in order, becoming one with him. And listen up, y'all. I want y'all to pay attention to this here. Okay. The great spirit says no book. This includes Owaspy, along with any other created book in the world. The great spirit says, and no book is so easily read as his created universe. No book is so easily read as his created universe. Verse 11, it says, inspiration comes less by books. Inspiration comes less by books than what the Great Spirit wrote. What did the Great Spirit write? His worlds. The Great Spirit says to read him and to read his works and to frame our speech and our thoughts for him, and he will answer and he will answer us in our own behavior. Hmm? Hmm? Let's break that down. Let's get into the breakdown. Because the great spirits created universe. What the created universe, what does it consist of? The stars, the planets, the elements, all manner and forms of conscious beings. That's me and you. That's animals. That's insects. Electromagnetic energies and etc. Because the great spirits created universe is what? The oldest written book and manuscript. He said no book is as easily read as his created universe. So guess what? His created universe is the oldest written book or manuscript and was written before the existence of any spine-bound book consisting of pages, chapters, and verses. Don't the information in books come from what is in reality first, and then it gets written into a book and passed on to a man or woman to read the information, correct? Huh? That's objective. Didn't no book exist before? Didn't no spine-bound book exist before the universe did, huh? Reality was here first. So no book is so easily read as this created universe. That goes for a waspy. That goes for Bible. That goes for Quran. And you can be upset with me for it, but it's the facts. Huh? What is a manuscript? What is a manuscript? A manuscript is a book, a document, or a piece of music written by hand. And what the creator say he wrote? His worlds, his created universe. That's what we are to read, his created universe, because inspiration comes less by books than by what the Great Spirit wrote, his worlds. So question, if the manuscript of creation is written by the hand of the Great Spirit, if the manuscript of creation is written by the hand of the Great Spirit, would we find its fingerprints in its works? Here we go. What's the title? Let There Be Vortex. Faith is in a wasp, but y'all already know where this is going. The question is, if the manuscript of creation is written by the hand of the Great Spirit, would we find its fingerprints in its works? And I want y'all to hold that thought. Hold that thought, because we're going to get to it. Is reading limited to words in a book? Is reading limited to words in a book? What does it mean to read? Let's define that, What does it mean to read? To read means to what? To learn by what? Observation. Observation. Keep that in mind. To read is to learn by observation, to examine or inspect. To examine or inspect. Now, pay attention to this definition. This one came from, I think this one came from Webster 1820. I got two sources down here, but let me go ahead and read the information. This definition here came from another source. It says read means to learn the nature of by doing what? Observing. Observing. But observing what? Observing what exactly? What are we observing? Outward expression. Outward expression. Or what? Or what? Signs. We're observing outward expression. So what is that called when we're observing or reading outward expression? And keep in mind, outward expression is how we read the Creator's works. We read the Creator's works by reading the reality that is exterior or external to ourselves. Outward expression, to read that is called extrospection. That's called extrospection. Extrospection is what? The examination or observation of what is outside of one's self. I want y'all to keep these in mind, because we're going to get deep. We're going to keep these in mind, We got to go to vocabulary school first. But what about inward expression? That's the one thing that these definitions didn't mention. It mentioned outward expression, but what about inward expression? What about the inward expression? Shouldn't we read or observe what's going on also inside of oneself? Because guess what? The Creator said to read his works. Guess what? We are also his work. We are just as much a work of creation as well as everything else in reality around us. To read inside of oneself, that is called introspection. So we have extrospection when we're reading the reality around us, and we have introspection when we're reading the reality within us. What is introspection? Introspection is a reflective looking inward. It is a reflective looking inward. And guess what? An examination of one's own thoughts or feelings. It's an examination of one's own thoughts or feelings. So we have to read our thoughts and we have to read our feelings. Hmm? Hmm? Oh, I forgot to format this, but check it out right here in the book of Owaspy. It says this in Owaspy, in the book of Inspiration, chapter 3, verse 14. It says this. It says, I made you so that what you would receive information. How do we receive information? From reading the works that's beyond us. Huh? I made you so that the Great Spirit made us so that we would receive inspiration, not only from the world external to yourself. Here it is, not only from the world external to yourself, but what? Inspiration from the members of your body. Hmm? Hmm? Here it is with the precepts. All right, Owaspy, Book of Af. All right, we're gonna read chapter 1, verses 5 through 8. Chapter 1, verses 5 through 8. It says, the Creator says, I am the all highest. I am the all highest. My service extends forever. I do not go, yet I am far away. I do not come, yet I am near. My voice is in all places. Now, check this out. The light of the soul of man hears me. The light of the soul of man hears me. Did he say the physical ears? Pay attention. Hmm? I speak in the vine that creeps and in the strong standing oak. Huh? So the ear isn't the only mechanism of hearing. The ear is not the only mechanism of hearing. Hmm? When you say something in your mind, when you say something and speak to yourself in your mind, and when we say something and speak to ourselves in our minds, are our physical ears picking up the message? Is that our physical ears? Huh? Think about that. Think about that. When we're dreaming and having a conversation with someone, are we picking it up with our physical ears? Hmm? Hmm? Sight is not the only way to observe a thing. Huh? Not with the physical eyes. When you make an image of something in your mind right now, you can picture an apple or picture a tree. You can see it in your mind. You're not seeing it with your physical eyes. Hmm? Huh? Even when we dream and we see the figures in our dreams and we see the visuals in our dreams, is that the physical eyes viewing those, or is that the mind's eye? It's the mind's eye. Huh? Watch this. See, and that said, our mind has its own set of senses apart from the five corporeal senses. Hmm? We can hear with it. We can, you know what I'm talking about? We can smell with it. We can touch with it. Huh? We can hear with it. Let's read from the book of Inspiration, chapter 3, verse 1 through 10. Let me go ahead and get that pulled up for y'all just one moment. We're going to talk about how our senses are used to observe a thing, to observe reality. Check it out. Book Inspiration, chapter 2, verse 1. You are made of inspiration, says the Great Spirit. We are made of inspiration. We are made of inspiration, the information that we receive and fill ourselves up with. Huh? The Creator made us a corporeal body and he wrote upon it. And guess what? We are the result. And I made you susceptible so that all things, what? External to yourself could write upon you. So that all things are. And I made you susceptible so that all things external to yourself could write upon you. There we go again with external. Hmm? It says the sum of these is your knowledge. The sum of these is your knowledge. Huh? So the sum of the things that we learn from what's external to ourselves is our knowledge. As it is with you, so is it with all men and with all the living that I created. Nor is there any knowledge in the world but what I gave. Nor is there any knowledge in the world but what I gave. Verse 7 says, all of it is my inspiration. We created nothing. We created no knowledge. Everything that we learn, all the information that we receive is what? Borrowed from reality. It is borrowed from the Creator's created universe. And none of it is ours. None of it is ours. Man said, check it out. Here it is. Verse 8. Man says this. Man says, by certain measurements, I teach my son mathematics. But the creator says this. I am behind it all, says the Great Spirit. I am behind it all. I taught your father's father and all who were before him. The sum of all of man's knowledge is merely man's capacity to perceive my light. I made you my servant to teach your son by what? Certain measurements. This was the road I made to reach your son's soul, to educate our kids. Man said, I know more than my father did, and yet my father knew more than his father did. We reason, we digest, we compound from one another. Jehovah says this, I am the all external. Look at that, the all external. From me, smaller lights are what? Focalized, says Jehovah, the Great Spirit. I was only supposed to read up to verse 10 and got carried away. But you get the idea. One moment, y'all. Oh, you know what, y'all? I was supposed to read chapter 3. Hey, but when I read it, chapter 2 was cold with it though. But watch this though. My bad. Y'all supposed to be talking about the senses. My bad. Man, I'm in the zone right now. All right, I'm gonna bring it on back. Hold up. We're gonna read from chapter 3. Watch this. Hold up. We're talking about the senses, y'all. My bad. That was cold though, what I did read though. Check it out. All right. The creator said we're talking about the senses, about observation. But check this out. The creator say this. I made the eye of man to obtain knowledge by light. I made the eye of man to obtain knowledge by light. But guess what? See, now we got the sense of sight. All right. But what about the sense of hearing? The creator says, but the ear of man I made to obtain knowledge from darkness. That's what we can't see with the physical eyes. If you close your eyes right now and you close your eyes, so if you close your eyes right now, you start to feel around or you start to listen. You can hear things and obtain knowledge by listening from the darkness. I gave the power of touch to man by which he could learn the adaptability and compatibility and incompatibility of things with himself. There's touch. There's a sense of touch. These are the corporeal doorways I gave to you, O man, by which you are able to receive knowledge from me and my creations consciously to yourself. So when we read his works, we have to use our senses. We use our sense of sight. We use our sense of hearing. We use our sense of touch, our sense of taste. That's how we make observations. Through these, you are constantly impregnated. Through these, you are constantly impregnated. Through these, your soul accumulates knowledge from what? My works. Whatever is charged upon these doorways of the soul is what? Inspiration. Guess what? Guess what? When you see bread with those physical eyes, when you see bread or when you see food, when you see bread, you are inspired to what? To eat. When you see a horse, you are inspired to ride. When you touch a nettle, guess what? You are inspired to pain. Inspired to pain. Yet, in all cases, you must have practice before you can comprehend the inspiration that comes to you from things what? From these what? External things. It's really, I'm telling y'all, is we have to get in our heads. We have to understand that knowledge is received from that which is external to ourselves. If we don't understand the external comes inward, we're not going to comprehend vortex when we get to it, y'all. We're not going to be able to comprehend vortex when we get to it. Man says, today I remember my friend whom I have not seen for many years. Check it out. Great Spirit says this. I made you like a what? A storehouse. I made you like a storehouse. And what? Like a book. Like a book that was written before. I made you like a storehouse and a book that was written before. Look at that. We are the book. We are the book. Creation is the book. We are the creation. Huh? The Creator said that inspiration comes less by books than by what the Creator wrote. Huh? His worlds. Read him in his works. Huh? Huh? And I gave you power to what? Reread your stores and your book, our memory. I gave you power to reread your stores and your book within your soul. Huh? Now let's go back. Watch this. Watch this. We're gonna continue with the book of Acts. He says, hear my voice. Oh, say, hear my voice, O creator. Hear my voice, O creator, O angels of heaven. Sorry, hear the voice of your creator, O angels of heaven. Carry my wisdom of utterance. Carry carry the wisdom of my utterance down to mortals. Call them to the glories of the heavens and the broad earth. Behold, check it out. Behold, my voice is where? In the rocks. My voice is in the rocks and in the wind that blows and in all things that do not have tongues. Show them my sons. Show them my stars in the firmament above. For guess what? They are what? Here it is again. For they are my written words. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. My voice proceeds in the space of heaven. My voice, what? It proceeds in the space of heaven. The wise angels of my exalted places hear the sound going forth. Listen to my speech. But he's not talking about with the physical ears. Listen to my speech, O spirits of the dead. Proclaim me, O gods and goddesses. They look for me. Here it is. They look for me like they look for things. They listen for my voice like they listen for a man's voice. Man's voice is what? Can be picked up by the physical ears. And they do not find me or hear what I have spoken. Yet none can efface my words. My wisdom endures forever. Behold, here it is, y'all. Pay attention. Pay attention. Creator says, the Great Spirit says, behold, I do not come as a sound to the ear. I do not come as a sound to the ear. My voice goes where? Quickly into the soul from all sides. Hmm? Hmm? Book of Inspiration, chapter 11, verse 17, it states, I said to man, be free. I said to man, be free. This is the Creator, y'all. He's telling us to be free. Learn to know liberty. Think for yourself. Study your Creator in what? All things. Study your creator in all things. But watch this, not just the things external to ourselves. He says, what? And in yourself in particular. Hmm? In yourself in particular. Huh? Extrospection and introspection involves us. It involves you, the what? The spectator. Extrospect, introspect, spectator. Hmm? Hmm? Read him in his works. We are the Great Spirit's work. No different than the sun, moon, and the stars. Huh? And the information that we receive, from that which is external to ourselves becomes our inspiration. And we can read those works when we read inward, the things that we learn and know and understand. Huh? So remember, y'all, to read means to observe. The Creator says to read his works. The Creator said that inspiration comes less by books than by what the Creator wrote, his words. So what the Great Spirit is telling us to do is what? To be scientists. The Great Spirit is telling us to be scientists. How many of y'all know that y'all scientists? How many of y'all know? Put a 1 in the chat if you know that you're a scientist. Do you know you're a scientist? We are all scientists. Huh? What the Great Spirit is telling us to do is to be scientists, to be inspectors of creation, to read his works, to make those observations. If we read the works and we make the observations, huh? And we experiment with those observations, we put those into practice, we are scientists, huh? The Creator wants us to be scientists and to gain knowledge how? To gain knowledge how? Objectively. To gain knowledge objectively, huh? What does it mean to be an inspector? Be an inspector of creation. An inspector does what? A person employed to inspect something. What does it mean to inspect? It means to view closely in critical appraisal. In critical appraisal. To be an inspector means to view something closely in critical appraisal. What does that mean, critical appraisal? It means to judge the merit. It means to judge the merit. Hmm? To examine officially. But watch this, y'all. I want y'all to pay attention to this. The Creator's action is telling us to be inspectors of creation. Okay? An inspector is one who inspects. To inspect means to view something closely in critical appraisal. But I want y'all to watch this about indoctrination. Watch this about indoctrination. Repeating an idea to someone until they accept it what? Without criticism or question. Hmm? To accept a set of beliefs without criticism or question. A lot of us are not inspectors. A lot of us are just indoctrinated. That's why the Creator says to read his works. That's why the Creator says that inspiration comes less by books. Because if all you do is get your knowledge and your inspiration from books, then guess what? You're indoctrinated, especially if you accept those beliefs without question or criticism. Hmm? Hmm? Question everything, criticize everything. Because a WASP in so many words is saying that it's not the end all be all. Huh? Hmm? As spectators who inspect by extrospection and introspection with critical appraisal and expert judgment, we are being scientists. We are being scientists. All of us, whether you agree with it or not, whether you like it or not. If you're making an observation right now by listening to this podcast, you are being a scientist. You are receiving information from that which is external to you, from the information that I am transmitting to you right now. Hmm? So I openly tell you to judge it, criticize it. Don't accept it because I'm here telling it to you. Challenge it. What is science? Science is the process. It's the process. Science is not the end result. Science is the process. It is the process of acquiring information through what? Observation and experimentation. Oh, look at that. Wait a minute. It is the process of acquiring information through what? Observation. But let's go back up to the definition of read. Let's go back up here to the definition of read. What is read? To learn by observation. Hmm? Hmm? Interesting. The process of acquiring information through what? Through observation and experimentation in an attempt to explain the universe and natural events. It's an attempt to explain the Great Spirit's works and how it works, huh? What is a process? Remember, science is the process of acquiring information, huh? But what is a process? A process is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end, huh? So guess what? If science is the process of acquiring information, then what is the end result? What is the end result? Huh? The end result is what? Knowledge. Because knowledge is what? Facts, information, and skills. What? Acquired. Science is the process of acquiring information. Knowledge is what? Information acquired. So you have science, which is the process, and you have knowledge, which is the end result. Knowledge is facts, information, and skills acquired by a person through what? Experience or education. Hmm? Hmm? The knowledge that we've acquired becomes our inspiration. The knowledge that we've acquired by being scientific or being scientists becomes our inspiration. Huh? Owaspy Book of Inspiration, chapter 2, verses 1 through 7. It states, you are made of inspiration. I read this earlier. You are made of inspiration. What is inspiration? Inspiration is information transmitted or received that we allow to have influence over our being. That's why we need to be careful of the type of things we listen to, or the people that we hang around, or the things that we eat, huh? Because what we fill ourselves up with, we become a product of. Huh? Y'all been here long enough to see how people become products of their environment. Huh? I made you a corporeal body and I wrote upon it. And guess what? We are the result. Huh? We are the result. And I made you susceptible so that all things external, here we go again with external, all things external to yourself could write upon you. Huh? If we listen to bad music or negative music, that writes upon our soul Negativity. If we listen to positive music, it writes upon our soul positivity. If we read negative books, it writes on us. If we read positive books, that writes on us. Huh? Negative movies, negative attitude. Y'all get the idea. Huh? The same way the body is what it eats, the spirit is what it eats as well. The sum of these is your knowledge, huh? From being a scientist. The sum of these is your knowledge. As it is with you, so is it with all men and with all the living that I created, huh? Nor is there any knowledge in the world but what I gave. We can't come up with anything. We can't come up with anything new that the creator hadn't created already for us to discover. That's why they say the expression is what? There's nothing new under the sun. There ain't nothing new that the universe didn't know was already set for us to discover. Hmm? Hmm? The creator says that all of it is my inspiration. All of the inspiration that we receive is from the great spirit that created universe. Huh? Even if it's written in the book, because I said in the beginning that it has to come from reality first in order to be written in the book. Huh? So, what is our role as mortal scientists? What is our role as mortal scientists who read him and his works? Hey, by the way, y'all, if sometimes my microphone goes off track, if my microphone goes off track, y'all just let me know in the chat. I'll exit out and come back in so I can refresh it. But sometimes it goes off track. So just do me a favor. If y'all catch it going off track or it cuts out, y'all just throw something in the chat, let me know, tag me in there. I'll see it and I'll reset. Appreciate y'all. Much love. All right. So what is our mortal role? What is our role as mortal scientists who read him and read his works? Hmm? Hmm? Scientists, this is from study.com. Scientists want to do what? Observe natural phenomenon. What does it mean to read? It means to observe, to examine or inspect. Scientists want to observe natural phenomena or events to understand the mechanisms that cause them and explain how or why those natural events occur. Huh? Don't tell me y'all ain't scientists. Don't tell us we ain't scientists. Don't tell me we ain't scientists. Reading him and his works means to be scientific about the how of reality and its events. And when someone asks how of a thing, then the expected response should be the process of the how. Huh? The first this, the second that, the then this, the third, and finally. Huh? Those are steps in the process. Hmm? Hmm? Now I gotta pick on Bible a little bit here. As a former Christian, as a former evangelist, as a former Baptist, I have to pick on the Bible a little bit here. All right. So my apologies. But listen up. There's a reason why I'm doing this. When you read the King James Version in Genesis, verses 3-5, it states this. This is what it states in Genesis. Verse 3 says this, and God said, let there be light. God said, let there be light. And there was what? There was light. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Huh? Now check this out, y'all. Check this out. Let there be light, and there was light is not a process, but an end product. It is an end result. There is no how. Let's just be genuine about it. There is no how. Huh? Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 2. It states this. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form. I want y'all to pay attention. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. All right, now let's get up into this. Let's get up into this. This means that earth was a vapor. Think about that. The earth was void. It was void and without form. This means that earth was a vapor of substances dissolved in the ether or space. This means that the earth was a vapor of substances dissolved in the ether of space. But how were those vapors condensed to give form to that which is without form? That's the question. That's a scientific question. We have to be realistic and ask that. But how were these vapors condensed to give form to that which is without form? What is a vapor? A vapor is a substance in the gaseous state, as distinguished from a liquid or solid state. This earth was not in a solid state. It wasn't even in a liquid state. There is no process. But check it out. Owaspi says this. Owaspi, Book of Jehovah, chapter 2, verse 8 says this. I also created atmospheric worlds in the firmament and gave them places, orbits, and courses to themselves. But check this out. But atmospheric worlds I created shapeless. Shapeless. Atmospheric world. What is atmosphere? Gaseous. Vapor. Gas. That's atmosphere. But atmospheric worlds I created shapeless. And what? Without fixed form. Fixed form. For they are what? For they are what? In the process of condensation or dissolution. In the process of condensation or dissolution. By what? Being an intermediate condition between my ethereal and my corporeal worlds. Of 3 degrees of density, I created them. I want y'all to pay attention to this. In 3 degrees of density, I created them, and I commanded man to name them. And one he called Jaye, and one he called Aji, and one he called Nebula. One he called Nebula. Watch this. Pay attention. We're going to slow it down in just a moment. Metals can be vaporized and condensed again. Is everybody aware that metals can evaporate and then they can also condense again? Check it out from the physics form. It's the source. In summary, when boiling metals pass their boiling point, they will what? Evaporate. They will evaporate. This process can also occur at lower temperatures, but at a slower rate. Mercury is one example of a metal that can be evaporated, but it is also quite unhealthy. Other metals, such as tungsten, can also be evaporated and what? Condensed again. Condensed again. Now watch this. I'm going to touch on this. Now, we said that what? These vapors that man called, these vapors, These vapors that don't have fixed form, these gaseous vapors, man called them what? Jaye, Aji, and call one Nebula. Pay attention to this, y'all. Pay attention to this. Now, what is Aji and what is Jaye? According to Owaspi. Watch this, y'all. Aji is semi-dark. It's a semi-dark nebula. Okay, watch this. It's semi-dark. It is a dense region in etheria. Etheria is just space. That's what etheria is. It's just space. The ether, space. For those of y'all that don't understand, it's just space. A dense region in etheria, which sometimes descends to the earth, and it is less dense than nebula. Now watch this. Jaye is what? It's semi-light substance. It's semi-light. One is semi-dark, one is semi-light substance in etheria, and is less dense than Aji. Watch this. Now check this out. Here's what's interesting. Look at the classes of nebula. Watch this. This is from Encyclopedia Britannica. These are the classes of nebula, right? On the basis of appearance, Nebula can be divided into two broad classes. This is interesting. Nebula can be divided into two broad classes right here. Dark nebula. Wow, interesting. And what else? Bright nebula. We got dark nebula and we have bright nebula. Huh? It says this. It says dark nebula is dark regularly. Sorry, let me reset. Slow down, Daryl. Dark nebula appear as irregularly shaped black patches in the sky. Remember this, y'all. Dark nebula, it appears as irregularly shaped black patches in the sky and blot out the light of the stars that lie beyond them. Remember that. Remember this right here. But bright nebula appear as faintly luminous glowing surfaces. They either emit their own light or reflect the light of nearby stars. Watch this. Watch this. Now watch this. Although bright nebula was observed in the 1600s, bright nebula had already been discovered. Although bright nebula although bright nebula was observed in the 1600s, it wasn't until after 1883 that dark nebula, which Owospy describes as IG, was discovered by astronomer Edward Emerson Barnard, but wasn't called dark nebula until decades after 1883 discovery. Huh? Watch this. Watch this, y'all. There's our boy Edward Emerson. Huh? And this is the star cluster that he studied when he discovered dark nebula, which is what Owospy calls IG. Watch this. On July 17th, 1883, while observing near M20 in Sagittarius, Barnard discovered a small triangular shaped dark hole near a small cluster, and it's called NGC 6520. That's what the name of it is today. Watch this. This was Edward's first telescopic discovery of what would be known decades later. Remember, he observed it in 1883, but it would be known decades later as what? Dark nebula. Dark nebula. Huh? And here are some other examples of dark nebula. This is the Horsehead Nebula in the constellation of Orion. See that darkness right there? That's called dark nebula. It's blocking out that light in the background. Well, you can also look in our own sky at the Milky Way galaxy. We have a whole strip of black nebula, dark nebula going straight through this light that's right beyond it. Right? So tell me this. How did Owospy know about the existence of dark nebula in 1881? It wasn't discovered till 1883, and they didn't call it dark nebula till what? Decades later. Again, with process. Again, with understanding the process of a thing. Book of Jehovah, chapter 4, verses 13 through 17. Man sought to know the what? The progress of things. Man sought to know the progress of things. Jehovah answered him saying, but check it out. When we look up the word progress, when we look up the word process in Merriam Dictionary, the first word and the first definition is what? Progress. Progress. And the Great Spirit said this. He said, open your eyes, oh man. There is a time of childhood, a time of propagation, a time of old age, and a time of death to all men. It is likewise with all the corporeal worlds I have created. They have a beginning, they have a lifespan, and they have a limit. They have a deadline. Just like we do. Now check it out. Here it is. We were talking about the vapor, right? It was without fixed form, right? When we go back and read Genesis, he said the earth was without fixed form. That means it was a vapor. It was a vapor in the ether. It was a vapor in space. First as a vapor. That's the first step in the process. First as a vapor, the vortex carries it forth. That's the first step in the process. See the vapor? See this nebula? See all the nebula here? It starts off like this. That's a world without fixed form. That's what a world without fixed forms look like. It's a gas. It's gaseous. The first step in the process is to what? Create a vortex. First as a vapor, the vortex carries it forth. And then as it what? Condenses. It condenses, huh? We just read in the source just up above that what? Metals condense. These gases condense into elements. They condense into the golds. They condense into silvers. They condense into calciums. They condense into other gases as well. The argons, huh? The hydrogens. And it condenses. And guess what? As it condenses, its friction engenders heat. And it is molten. That's number 2 right there. It is molten, becoming as a globe of fire in heaven, huh? The earth was a hot rock before it cooled off. It wasn't habitable when it was forming. It was a glowing hot rock. And if we was on another planet viewing this, the earth would look like a sun. It would look like a star. Much like how we can view planets with our naked eye, like Mars and like Venus, and they look like stars. First as a vapor, that's first step in the process. First as a vapor, the vortex carries it forth. And as it condenses, its friction engenders heat. Y'all know damn well that friction creates heat. And it is molten, becoming a globe of fire, what? In heaven. Then guess what? It takes its place as a what? A newly born world. And I set it in the orbit I prepared for it. Check it out. Right there in the center of the planet. It started off as a hot rock, like a star. We got a star in the center of the world. There's a star in the center of the world. Then it says this. It says, in the next age, I bring it into Simu. Y'all watch this. We finna get crazy. In the next age, I bring it into Simu. We'll talk about what Simu is later on in the presentation. For it is ripe for the bringing forth of living creatures. Now it is ripe for the bringing forth of living creatures. It started off as a molten rock. And then as it got bigger, it cooled off. And now it's ripe for the bringing forth of living creatures. And I bestow the vegetable and animal kingdoms. Huh? And then guess what? Next it enters Hotu, for it is past the age of begetting. Huh? There's going to come a point in the age of the earth where we won't be able to exist anymore. It won't be habitable anymore at a certain point. The earth has an end. It has an expiration date. Human beings ain't gonna be on earth forever. Right now, we're living in its habitable time zone. When it was generating, it wasn't habitable. Now it's cooled off, and now it's ripe for us to be here. It's ripe for me to be here. It's ripe for you to be here. But then there's gonna come a point, well, it ain't gonna be habitable no more, huh? So it enters Hotu, for it's past the age of beginning, even as the living who are advanced in years. Next it enters Adu, and nothing can generate upon it. Nothing can generate upon it. Then comes Ooze, and it is spirited away into the unseen realms. Thus I create. Listen what the creator say, y'all. Thus I create and dissipate planets, suns, moons, and stars, huh? And if y'all don't believe that the creator dissipates planets, suns, moons, and stars, then how do you think we get supernovas? A supernova is a dissipated sun. Dissipation of creation is what would happen if the Great Spirit ever rested or ceased from his works. I'm going to say that one more time. Dissipation of creation is what would happen if the Great Spirit ever rested or ceased from his works. Huh? Because it says in Owaspi, Book of Jehovah, Book of the Great Spirit, chapter 1, verse 1, it states that all is, all was, all ever shall be. The all spoken, the all spoken motion was and is and ever shall be. It says motion was and motion is and motion ever shall be. That means before us it was moving, during us is moving, and after us is going to continue moving. It doesn't rest, huh? And it says being positive was called he and him, and the all motion was his speech. But then we go here in Genesis. We go here in book of Genesis, chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. And it says, and on the seventh day, God ended his work. God ended his work. It says on the seventh day that God ended his work, which he had made. And he what? He rested on the seventh day. He rested, huh? He ended his work and he rested. But check it out. Now we go back to Owaspy in the book of Aranathan, chapter 1, verses 19 through 21. It says this. It says what? It says third, that the Great Spirit has not finished his creations. Has not finished his creations. Wait a minute. But didn't we touch on it above that we are his work? We are the creation. So if the creator rested, then how are new babies being born every day? How are stars being born all the time? Huh? How are new galaxies being formed? How are new planets being formed? Huh? Nothing ended. There is no rest. Check it out. It says that the great spirit has not finished his creations and retired from his works. That where we have said he tired or he rested, we have let ourselves fall through errors of language into profanation of the Almighty. For he is master over all weariness and is master and is his own everlasting rest and unrest beyond the comprehension of mortals and angels. And is what? And he is what? He is forever bringing together, creating and forever dissolving and dissipating worlds without number. Huh? Huh? So where to rest at? If there was any rest, if there was any end in the work, we wouldn't even be sitting here right now. We wouldn't even exist. Oh yeah, we about to get into it now. Key points. Key points. We've learned that inspiration comes less by books than by reading reality. We learned that inspiration comes less by books, by reading reality. What is reality? The Great Spirit's created universe, the Great Spirit's work. We've learned that our senses are the mechanism used to observe and experience the phenomenon of reality. And even the phenomenon of ourselves, because guess what? We are of reality. We are not separate from his works. We are of his works and are its work. We've learned that we can observe. We've learned that we observe, that what we observe is external to ourselves, and what we internalize from our observations become our knowledge, our inspiration.
Your mic out.
Oh, okay. Let me exit out and come back in.
You good now?
Okay. It might have lip sync. Let me go ahead and exit out. I'm gonna come right back in and I'm gonna continue.
Okay.
All right.
Please hit the like. Hey, Babylon Don.
All right, we back. Thanks for letting me know my mic had to be reset. All right, we're gonna start this over from the top right here, the key points. Okay. We've learned that inspiration comes less by books, less by reading books than by reading reality, huh? That's the creator's created universe. We've learned that our senses are the mechanism used to observe and experience the phenomena called reality. We've learned that what we observe is external to ourselves, and what we internalize from those observations become our knowledge. We've learned that science is the process of acquiring information through observation, and that knowledge is the information acquired through those observations, from those observations, huh? The knowledge acquired becomes our what? Our inspiration, meaning that we internalize or fill ourselves up with influences. Sorry, well, let me re-say that. The knowledge acquired becomes our inspiration, meaning that what we internalize, it influences our thoughts, it influences our speech, and it influences our behavior. That's why when we go back up, and the creator said that inspiration comes less by books than by what Jehovah wrote, his worlds. It says to read him and his works. But then it says right here to frame your speech and your thoughts for him, and he will answer you in your own behavior. Huh? Huh? So what we fill ourselves up with, that's what influences our thoughts. That's what influences our speech, and that's what influences our behavior. This is why the faith is say as without, so within. So within as without. What does that mean? Meaning as knowledge is transmitted without, so is knowledge received within. I'm gonna say that one more time. Meaning as knowledge is transmitted without, so is knowledge received within. And as knowledge is received within, so is knowledge transmitted without. Huh? Hmm? Here we go. Book of Inspiration, chapter 1, verse 20, 23 to 25, it states, as the whirlwind gathers up the dust, as the whirlwind gathers up the dust and drives it where? Toward the center, so is the plan of my created universe. We are like a center. All things come to us from without. There we go with receiving the information and the knowledge from without, from that which is external to ourselves, huh? It says your knowledge as well as your corporality came to you from what? From outside, from that which is what? External to ourselves. External to ourselves. All right, here we go. Vortex. We finna get up in it now, baby. We in the thick of it now. We finna get up in it. But listen, I'm gonna take a second. I gotta go grab me some water, and we about to fly high. We about to get up in it right now. Give me just a moment. I'll be right back. All right, all right, all right. Oh man, I needed that. All right, we back. Here we go. All right, y'all. We finna cruise now. We finna cruise now. All right, we got it. Vortex. Vortex, vortex, the motion of the mind behind the manifestation. This is it right here, y'all. Vortex, the motion of the mind behind the manifestation. All right, this is a source from Encyclopedia Britannica defining motion. What is motion? Motion in physics. Motion in physics. Change with time of the position or orientation of a body. Motion along a line or a curve is called translation. But motion that changes the orientation of a body is called rotation. It's called rotation. Motion that changes the orientation of a body is called rotation. Remember what we read earlier, Owaspy Book of Jehovah, chapter 1, verse 1, it states, all was, all is, all ever shall be. That's past, present, and future. All was, all is, all ever shall be. The all spoke in motion. The all spoken motion was, and motion is, and motion ever shall be. And being positive was called he, and him, the all motion was his speech. The all motion was his speech. Here we go. Here we go. Owaspy Book of Jehovah, chapter 3, verse 2 through 3. Man looked upward. Man looked upward in prayer, desiring to know, not believe. Not believe. Man looked upward in prayer, desiring to know the way of all created things, both on earth and in heaven. And the Great Spirit answered him, saying this. Watch this. The whirlwind I made as a what? A sign to man of the way of my created worlds. The whirlwind I made as a sign. We have to read his works for the signs. Remember, let's go back up to where we wrote, to where we read about this earlier on in this presentation. Here we go. Here we go. The Creator said to do what? Our Creator said to read him and his works. To read him and his works, because inspiration comes less by books than by what he wrote, which was his worlds, right? And then when we look up the definition of read, it means to learn by what? Observation. And when we read the next definition, it means what? To learn the nature of by observing outward expression or what? Signs, So when we observe the Creator's works, we are looking for what? Signs. So now we're looking for what? Signs of the whirlwind. Here we go in vortex. Here we go in vortex. Let's go back. The whirlwind I made as a sign to man of the way of my created worlds. As you see the power of the whirlwind doing what? What does the whirlwind do? As you see the power of the whirlwind doing what? Gathering up the dust of the earth and driving it together. Know that likewise I bring my Jaya and my Aji and my nebula in the firmament of heaven. Remember? We went over what Ajay and Jaya and Nebula was. I showed y'all that from the source. I showed y'all that Aj was dark nebula. I showed y'all that there was an astronomer in 1883 or in 1883 who discovered dark nebula. I showed y'all that it wasn't until decades after 1883 when he discovered dark nebula that they didn't call it dark nebula till then. Here we go. By the power of the whirlwind, I create the corporeal suns, the corporeal moons, and the corporeal stars. By the power of the whirlwind. Stay tuned, y'all. I'm going to prove that to y'all objectively. I commanded man to name the whirlwinds in the Etherian firmament, and man named them according to their shape, calling them vortices and work. Calling them vortices and work. Here we go. Remember, y'all, these are the vapors. This is the vapor. This is atmospheric or etheric. This is etheric vapor. We went over this earlier on in the presentation. All right, watch this. Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all this experiment real quick. How the whirlwind, how vortex condenses things. Watch this. Hold on, where's that video at? Here we go. All right. It drives things toward the center and it condenses things. This is the power of vortex. This is vortex. All right, this is my substance. I pour my substance. There it is. There's my vapor. There's my substance. The water is space. The water is the ether. Check out the corporeal substance that I put into the water. Go ahead, give it a stir. Make a vortex. Make a vortex and give it a stir. Now watch the substances condense. Watch it condense. Watch this here. Right there. It drove the substance toward the center and it created a mass. It created a mass. Look at that. Drove it all together. The vortex drove it together. Look at this here. It drove the substance toward the center. It gathered up the substance and drove it toward the center and created a mass. That's how vortex in space creates worlds with the nebula that's in space. Watch this. I'm gonna show y'all from another view. Give me just a moment. This is another view, so y'all can see it from another view. And y'all can see down there that the vortex is pulling it in right there at the base. Look at that. Look at the base of it. Look how it's all coming in. It's all coming together, being driven toward the center. Now remember, the shape that's being created in the vortex in the bowl is toroidal. Now I'm gonna put the GoPro in a second, just so we can get up close on it, just to see that it clumped together. It produced a mass. Look at that. All right. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna read that for y'all again. The whirlwind I made as a sign to man of the way of my created worlds. And as y'all saw in the experiment, that's how we're scientists. That's how we saw. We're looking for signs of vortex. We saw a sign of vortex in that bowl of water and how it drove the substance together and created a mass in the center. That's a sign. It says, no, likewise, in the same manner, I brought together the Jaya, the Ig, and the nebula in the firmament of heaven. And by the power of the whirlwind, by the power of vortex, I created the corporeal suns, the corporeal moons, and the corporeal stars. Here it is again, just showing you some photos. I started out right here. It was all dissipated. It was dissipated. It was a vapor. This is Earth without fixed form and void. Now, when you drop that whirlwind up in there, when you drop that whirlwind in space, what happens? It brings all that nebula and all that substance and all those metals, all that gold and silver and lead and hydrogen. It brings it all together and it creates a mass, create a solid ball. But then not just that, it creates a womb of atmosphere, which our solid Earth sits in. So we're looking for signs of vortex, signs, a motion, What is it? What is a sign? A sign is what? A motion. Isn't that interesting? A sign is a motion or gesture by which a thought is expressed or a command or wish is made known. But check this out. Something material or what? External. External. We've been talking about external. We've been talking about motion. Or something external that stands for or signifies something spiritual, or it's something indicating the presence or existence of something else. So when we see the world spiraling, when we see tornadoes spiraling, when we see hurricane spiraling, it indicates the presence or the existence of something else, a vortex that is causing that motion. What are signs of vortex? Here are some signs of vortex. We got hurricanes. We got the hurricane. The hurricane is what? It's a vortex. It's spinning, spiraling, vortex, vortexian storm. We also got tornadoes. And what do tornadoes do? They spin around and they gather up the substance of the earth. They gather up the substance of the earth. We got whirlpools. We got snow. We even got magnetism. And of course, we got galaxies. And also, check this out, y'all. We got fingerprints. Look at your fingerprint. Look at your fingerprint up under the light. That's everybody's vortexian signature. Our fingerprints are our unique vortexian signature. Nobody's fingerprint is alike. That's why if you ever got caught up in a jam, or if you ever had to submit your fingerprint because you was doing something, working with kids or something, you had to submit your signature. And everything you touch, you write your name all over it. Everything we touch, we write our names all over it. That's why on the crime scene this happens. Look here. It say the Great Spirit's fingerprint is what? Is spiral. It's vortexian. And in the Great Spirit's likeness, so is ours. Our fingerprint is spiral. Our fingerprint is what? It's vortexian. You see the fingerprint here? You see that spiral galaxy? Signs. These are signs. So the same way investigators examine a crime scene for what? For signs of the suspect's hand in the situation, is the same way we observe and examine creation or read creation for signs of the creator's hand in its works. The same way an invisible tornado spawns up and gathers up the dust of the earth, or gather up whatever substance it forms on top of, and its body is made what? Visible. A detective on the crime scene, it uses charcoal to do what? Make our vortex visible. If you take a piece of paper and put it on top of a magnet and take some iron shavings or some iron dust and throw it on top of the paper, the iron will take the shape of the vortex coming off the magnet. Y'all see how it all corresponds? Where my Hermetic brothers and sisters at? Don't y'all know this is the principle of correspondence at work right here. This is how the unseen vortex becomes visible, and we see signs. We investigate, we inspect. And this is showing that a vortex is unseen until it is made visible by the corporeal substance that drives it toward the center. Y'all ever seen dust devils? Let's look at that. Let's see vortex pick up the dust of the earth and drive it toward the center. Let's watch this real quick. We ain't gonna watch all of them, but just skim through it. Check this out. Fair use, by the way. Fair use. We just gonna skim through it. Check it out. I'm gonna go to timestamp right here. I'm gonna go to timestamp 220. Now watch this. If a vortex spawned over snow or generated over snow, what is his body gonna be made of? Its body gonna be made of snow. Watch this. I'm gonna go to timestamp 220 real quick. Play it from right here. Watch this. Watch this tornado. Watch this little dust devil over the snow. Look at that. It becomes a body of snow. The information it receives or the substance it receives is snow. Now you got a snow dust devil right there. That's how the unseen is made visible. That's how vortex is made visible. That's a sign of vortex when you see that. Look at that one. That one's made of sand because it generated over sand. Watch this one at 555 that generates over soil. Look at that one. That one's made of sand too, generated over sand, got a body of sand. Watch this one over the soil. We got one right there made of dirt. But it's transparent. If that soil wasn't even right there, we walk right into it, not even knowing it was there. Not even knowing it was there. Look at the soil. It's made of, look at that. It's driving it together and spinning it around. Now watch this one on the water. We're going to watch this one on the water. It's 14:14, and we're going to go ahead and proceed. If vortex generate over water, then this body is going to be of water. Watch this. Look at this. Look at that. The whirlwind I made as a sign. That's why the creator says the whirlwind I made as a sign of the way of my created world. See there? So let's go ahead and understand further what vortex is. What vortex is. This is what vortex is. It's toroidal. It's like a toroid. It's toroidal. Right there, if you look in the center, you can see the tornado funnel. You can see the whirlwind funnel right there. Right here in this image, right here in this moving image, and right here you can see the funnel. But the overall shape is it's toroidal or ovular, but toroidal. And what it drives towards the center becomes spherical. Watch this. Vortex. A vortex. The plural of vortex is vortices. The plural of vortex is vortices. It is a rapidly spinning, right here, it's a rapidly spinning circular or spiral flow of fluid around a central axis. The swirling motion tends to suck everything within the fluid toward the center. It sucks everything within the fluid toward the center. The speed and rate of rotation of the fluid are greatest at the center. Remember when we watched my experiment video, the way everything was driving toward that center very rapidly. Then it built up and created a mass. It built up and created a mass. The speed and rate of the rotation of the fluid are greatest at the center and decrease progressively with distance from the center. Examples of vortices range from tornadoes and hurricanes in the atmosphere to water flowing down a drain. The great red spot on Jupiter appears to be a huge vortex. They're talking about Jupiter's eye. If anybody know what that is. A vortex can be what? Observed. And that's what we've been doing. We've been observing vortex. We have been observing the sign of the whirlwind, observing the sign of vortex. A vortex can be observed in the spiraling motion of air or fluid around a center of what? Rotation. Rotation. The circular current of water of conflicting tides form what? Vortex shapes. Turbulent flow makes many vortices. A good example of a vortex is the atmospheric phenomenon of a whirlwind or a tornado or a dust devil. Or a dust devil. This is a dust devil, what we've been observing right here. These are dust devils. Dust devils are spinning columns of air. Spinning columns of air caused by a vortex. But they're not strong enough to be qualified as tornadoes. So that's why they're called that's why they're called dust devils. See that? The whirling air mass mostly takes the form of a helix, a column, or spiral. A mass of spinning air liquid that pulls things toward the center. That's vortex, y'all. That's vortex. Just wanted to read a number of precepts from a number of sources to make sure that we all got it. It drives things toward the center. Vortex is the motion that gives Earth its form from being void and without form. In the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 2, it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without what? It was without form. That means it was a vapor. It was without fixed form. and it was void. And the darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The waters in this verse is not an ocean or a lake, because there is nothing for the liquid water to even rest on. The waters is what? The ether, a vapor of corporeal substance in solution. It is a vapor of corporeal substance in solution. I'm going to play this video one more time. This is how the earth was given form. There is no fixed form. The substances I put into the water does not have a fixed form. And when I stirred it together, when I created a vortex, all the substance was driven toward the center. And what? It formed a mass. View number 2. There it is from the side. There it is up close. All right. So what is ether? The waters is the ether. What is ether? Ether in a WASP glossary is defined as the solvent of corpore. It is the solvent of corpore. As water is the solvent of salt, so is ether or space the solvent of corporeal substance. That's what these nebulas are that we see in outer space. It's dissolved substance. Well, what we can visibly see, at least. What we can't see is even more dissolved and is not visible. In like manner, when the ether solvent is in rotation by vortex, it condenses the corporeal substance that is dissolved. Book of Jehovah, chapter 3, verse 4. By the power of rotation, swift driving at the periphery, I condense the atmospheric worlds that float in the firmament. And these become my corporeal condensed worlds. And in the midst of the vortices, I made them. And by the power of the vortices, I turned them on their axes and carry them in the orbits I allotted to them. Wider. Hold on now. Wider. Wait a minute now. Wider than to the moons of a planet. Wider than to the moons of a planet, I created the vortices that carry the moons also. So what is this saying? This is saying that the vortices of the planet exceeds the vortices of the moon. It goes beyond the moon. The vortices of a planet is what? Its atmosphere. The vortices of the earth is its atmosphere. So is the Owaspy saying that the moon exists within Earth's atmosphere? Is that what the Owaspy is telling us here? It says right here, it says wider of a planet, wider than the moons of a planet, I created the vortices, and they carry the moons also. So the Earth's vortices is carrying the vortices of the moon. So the moon exists inside the atmosphere of the vortices of the Earth. Is this true? Oh, well, let's talk about that. The moon is not in outer space. What, DARRYL Kosmon? What did you just say? The moon is not in outer space. It's in the Earth's atmosphere. It's in the Earth's atmosphere. Oh, well, check this out. Space.com says this. Don't get an attitude with me about this information. Get an attitude with Space.com because they made the discovery that it's true. Right here, space.com. Let's take it there so you can see it in real time. It says surprise. I'm going to zoom in for you so you can see it. It says surprise. Earth's atmosphere extends far beyond the moon. Wait a minute. This is a recent discovery. Earth's atmosphere extends far beyond the moon. But let's go back to the Owaspy And it says what? Wider than the moons of a planet, I created the vortices, which is the atmosphere, and they carry the moons also. The moon is not in outer space, it's in the Earth's atmosphere. Let's read about this. It says what? It says tiny wisp of Earth air stretch way out into deep space, far beyond the moon's orbit. Backdrop. Huh? Far beyond the moon's orbit, a new study suggests. It says that Earth's geocorona, a teeniest cloud of hydrogen atoms, a teeniest cloud of what? Hydrogen atoms, extends up to 390,000 miles into space. 390,000 miles into space, huh? Into space, according to what new research? For perspective, the moon orbits the Earth at an average of 239,000 miles. Look at that. Then it says here on space.com, the moon flies through Earth's atmosphere. There it is. There's the diagram they provided. There's the diagram they provided. And what did I say? If the moon is in Earth's atmosphere, that means the moon ain't even in outer space. Okay, so what is outer space? Outer space is what? Space immediately outside the Earth's atmosphere. So if the moon exists within the Earth's atmosphere, it's not in outer space because it's not outside the atmosphere or the vortex of the Earth. Huh? Huh? The moon is only in orbit. It's in orbit. Orbit is what? It is a path described by one body in its revolution about another, as by the Earth about the sun, or by an electron about an atomic nucleus. Huh? That said, man may have been to the moon, if a man ever even been to the moon in the first place. But if he has been to the moon, he ain't even been in outer space. Because if you're on the moon, you're still in the atmosphere of the Earth, homie. You're still in the atmosphere of the Earth, huh? Hmm? Hmm? Now, how did Owaspy get that in 1881? How did Owaspy get that in 1881? If this is a recent discovery, how did Owaspy get the information that the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere in 1881? Huh? Watch this. To make the sun. Oh, here we go. To make the sun. Remember, God said in the Bible, let there be light, and there was light. But there was no process. To say let there be light and there was light, that's the end result. What is the process of attaining that light, huh? Of creating that light? Here it is. The same way with vortex right here. The Creator said, the Great Spirit says, to make the sun, I created a what? A great vortex. I created a what? A great vortex. And within the vortex, and within this vortex, and subject to it, I made the vortices of many corporeal worlds. So the vortex of the sun created the vortex of the sun, moon, of the sun and the moon. The vortex of the sun created the vortex of the planets and their moons. Watch this. To make the sun, I created a great vortex. And within this vortex and subject to it, I made the vortices of many corporeal worlds. The sun vortex I caused to do what? Rotate. And I gave it power to do what? To carry other vortices within it. And according to their density and position, they are thus carried forth around the sun. Huh? So guess what? If the vortex of the Earth extends past the vortex of the moon, then guess what? The vortex of the sun extends far past its planets that is carrying also. Huh? Same mechanism. Watch this. The outer atmosphere of the sun is called the heliosphere. It's the sun's vortex. The heliosphere does what? Extends. This is from NASA. The heliosphere does what? Extends beyond the orbit of the planets. The same way the Earth vortex extends beyond the orbit of the moon. Huh? The heliosphere extends beyond the orbit of the planets in our solar system. Thus, the Earth exists inside the sun's atmosphere. Just like, look, it says it right there. The Earth exists inside the sun's what? The sun's atmosphere. We're in the atmosphere of the sun. The same way the moon is in the atmosphere of the earth. In orbit, not in outer space, in orbit. Because it doesn't exist beyond the atmosphere of the earth, huh? And it says outside the heliosphere is called what? Interstellar space. Outside the atmosphere of the sun is called interstellar space. Outside the vortex or the atmosphere of the earth is called outer space. Outside the atmosphere of the sun or the heliosphere is called interstellar space. When was the heliosphere discovered? When was the heliosphere discovered? Remember, y'all, the WASP is an 1881 book. How does it know this information? When was the heliosphere discovered? It says right here again in NASA, despite the fact that it is the largest single physical system in the entire solar system, the heliosphere, which is the vortex of the sun, the heliosphere was only discovered at the dawn of the space age in the late 1950s. How did Owaspy get this information in 1881? Oh, well, let's keep moving. It says right here that for the first time, NASA took a photo of the sun's tail. What? The sun's tail? DARRYL KOSMON, you nuts? The sun got a tail? Oh, okay, well, let's talk about that. Right here in the book of Owaspy, in the book of Cosmogony and Prophecy, here's the diagram. Here's a diagram of the sun right here. The sun's heliosphere right here. Here's a diagram. And see the substance going around the heliosphere right here. Watch this. A Owaspy diagram of the sun's heliosphere and what heliotail. And then I want you to look to the right here and look at this image that was provided to us by the Smithsonian. It's the image of a far off star showing its tail. And Owaspy in 1881 has a diagram of our star, our sun, with the tail, with substances and energy going around the heliosphere. Here it is right here. More precepts right here from the Smithsonian. What they say, it says that the sun orbits the center of the Milky Way. As the sun orbits the center of the Milky Way, it passes through what's known as the interstellar medium, a melange of dust and gas and cosmic rays. That's what this stuff is. Cosmic rays and dust and gas going right around the heliosphere. Check it out. Like a ship passing through the ocean, the sun's passes through the interstellar medium causes the sun's magnetic field to build up in front of the solar system and to sweep the sun's magnetic field back in a long tail behind it. How did Owaspy know the sun had a tail in 1881? How? I challenge somebody to come and debunk this. I challenge you to come and debunk this. Book of Jehovah, chapter 3, verse 5 through 6. It says, around some of my corporeal worlds, I have given nebulous belts and nebulous rings. Y'all know what Saturn looked like? Y'all know what Saturn looked like? Around some of my corporeal worlds, I have given nebulous belts and rings so that man can comprehend the rotation. of my vortexian worlds. What did the Creator say? The Creator said, look for signs. When you see the rings on Saturn, you see rotation. You see the vortexian current there. You see layers. For each and every corporeal world, I created a vortex first. For each and every corporeal world, I created a vortex first. Vortex is the first step in the process. Genesis says this. It says, let there be light, and there was light. There was no process. How was a sun created without vortex? God. Huh? How was the earth created without vortex? God. Huh? It doesn't hurt to ask those questions. It doesn't hurt to want to know the process and the way of created things. That's why Owaspy is here as the new revelation. But it's not the end all be all. Huh? Hmm? For each and every corporeal world, I created a vortex first. And by its what? Its rotation. Here we go with rotation. And from the places in the firmament where it traveled, I caused the vortex to do what? Conceive a corporeal world. Give me a second, y'all. For each and every corporeal world, I created a vortex first. And by its rotation, and from the places in the firmament where it traveled, I caused the vortex to do what? To conceive a corporeal world. When I showed the experiment with the bowl of water, and the substance in the water, and I stirred it up, what did it do? It conceived something else from the substance that I put into it. I stirred it up, and it conceived a mass. Watch this. Watch this. Conceive. Conceive. Conceive the corporeal world. For each and every corporeal world, I created a vortex first. So there was a vortex before there was a world, but then it says to conceive the corporeal world. So what do we think about when we think of conceive? What do we think of when we think of conceive? On a biological level, not on a planetary level. What do we think of when we think of conceive? We think of what? We think of pregnancy. We think of pregnancy. I want y'all to pay attention to this. We think of pregnancy. Conceive. It means to become pregnant with what? With young. To cause, to begin, or originate. So here it is. We are like worlds also being created by a vortex. We are like worlds also being created by a vortex. Y'all think I'm crazy, don't y'all? If for each and every corporal world there's a vortex first. If I am a world, was I created by vortex? Was I created by vortex? Let's see. Let's see if we were created by vortex. Y'all see what this say right here? This is gonna get deep. Y'all see what this say right here? I'm gonna blow this article up right here from the Big Think. Do y'all see what this says right here? It says the effects of vortex and mortal conception. Check out this headline from Big Think. This is the source. It says sperm does not slither. They swim in a what? A corkscrew motion. Sperm does not slither. Sperm swims in a corkscrew drilling, spiraling motion. All right. And this guess what? This article was created August 16th, the year 2020. It says new research reveals that because of an optical illusion, we've been reviewing sperm incorrectly for nearly 350 years. They've been seeing it wrong. They thought that it slithered, but instead of it slithering, it does what? It swims in a corkscrew motion. The creator said for each and every corporeal world, I did what? I created a vortex first. Now here we have sperm cells. Instead of them wiggling or slithering, they drill. They swim in a corkscrew motion. They spiral like vortex. They spiral like vortex. Here we go. Let's read what the article says from Business Insider. This is another source. Precept upon precept. The sperm body does what? It spins. It spins. See, we're looking for signs of what? Vortex. We're looking to the works when we're looking for signs of vortex. The sperm body spins at the same time that the tail does what? Rotates around the swimming direction. Sperm drills into the fluid like a spinning top by rotating itself while its tilted axis rotates around the center. Uh-oh, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. This is known in physics as what? Precession. Much like what? Much like what? Much like precession of the equinoxes in our planet. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now watch this. Watch this from a WASP. Watch this from a WASP, y'all. In Book of Cosmogony and Prophecy, chapter 3, verse 25. It sounds mighty similar to what it said right here in the source. Watch this. Verse 25 from the Book of Cosmogony and Prophecy says this: though the general form of a vortex, though the general form of a vortex, as already stated in its beginning, is what? Long. Then it's funnel shaped like a whirlwind. Its ultimate is toward a globular form. And though the current of vortex is spiral at first, yet its currents ultimate toward less spirality. Listen up. If one could imagine a very long serpent, if one could imagine a very long serpent in spiral form, like what? A sperm cell? If one could imagine a very long serpent in spiral form, constantly turning its head and at one pole and its tail at the other, and continuously crawling up its own spirality. Such a view would somewhat illustrate the currents of vortex. But wait a minute, let's pay attention to this. It say what? It says it's a very long serpent in spiral form and constantly turning its head in at one pole and its tail at the other. Let's go back to the article real quick. What did you say happens here? Sperm drills into the fluid like a spinning top by rotating itself while its tilted axis rotates around the center. This is known in physics as a precession, huh? Much like the precession of the equinox of our own planet. Look, the sperm body spins at the same time the tail rotates around the swimming direction. Come on, y'all. I'm not making this up. Huh? This ain't made up. Look at this here. Huh? Look at this here. Let's talk about the 4 stages of vortex. Let's talk about these 4 stages of vortex. Watch this, man. Watch this, y'all. Pay attention. The first stage of vortex is a what? A helical. It's a helical in shape. It said the first stage of vortex is helical in shape. Let's make the connection. The first stage of vortex is what? Helical in shape. On April 25th, 1953, Francis Clark and James Watson published their infamous article that showed the shape of DNA. The shape of DNA is a what? A double helix. This wasn't until 1953. Huh? Here's the first stage of vortex as described in OWASP by what? In 1881. In 1881. Huh? Huh? DNA is helical. That's the first stage of vortex. But guess what? The sperm carries the DNA, which is helical, while it's spinning toward the egg, spinning in motion. Watch this. The head of the sperm contains what? DNA, which when combined with the egg's DNA will what? Create a what? A new individual. Huh? That's where the DNA is at. Look, for each and every corporal world, I created a vortex first. We got the vortexian DNA. We got the vortexian motion of the sperm cell that carries the vortexian motion, the vortexian pattern of the DNA, which is the first stage of vortex. Huh? Watch this. So far, we have the helical vortex DNA that's being carried by the sperm cell that is spinning. Here are the 4 stages. This is the 4 stages of planetary vortex resemble the early stages of development. Watch this. The 4 stages of planetary vortex resemble the early stages of development. Watch this. say embryological. Spelled that wrong as hell. The 4 stages of planetary vortex resembles the early stages of embryo development. Check this out, y'all. As above, so below. Right here, it says for each and every corporeal world, I created a vortex first. I've already proved vortex in the DNA. I've already proved vortex in the sperm cell. Watch this. As above, so below. Here are the vortages, the 4 stages of vortex from a WASP in 1881. Now, so below, watch this. Look at this. I'm going to let this sit for a minute, then we're going to slow it down and break it down. Look at the resemblance. All right, watch this. Let's break it down, y'all. This is about to get crazy. Here we go. We proving vortex on a planetary cosmic level. Now we down in the embryo, y'all. We're gonna prove it in the embryological level. Check it out. Primary vortex. Here it is. This is the first stage of vortex, like we just showed, the helical vortex. The power that makes planets, right here. The first stage of vortex. First stage of vortex and the beginning of cometary existence. Wait, the what cometary existence? Cometary existence. A whirlwind in the Ethereal heavens. Now check this out. DNA is the substance to make a new individual and is carried by the cometary sperm cell. I'm gonna say that one more time. I want y'all to think I'm as crazy as possible, and I'm gonna break it down with the sources. So I'm like, oh my God, oh my goodness, this is nuts. DNA is the substance to make a new individual and is carried by the cometary sperm cell. I did. A sperm cell is a biological comet. Y'all see that right there? I want y'all to let that sink in when I said a sperm cell is a biological comet. It is a biological comet. Here we go. All right, let's get into it from the source. This is from NASA Science. Comets facts. Watch this. They have been referred to as dirty balls. That's what they call dirty snowballs. That's what they call comets. They have been referred to as dirty snowballs. They may yield important clues about the formation of our solar system. But check this out. Comets may have brought water and organic compounds, the building blocks of life, Comets may have brought what? The building blocks of life to the early Earth and other parts of our solar system. You got it? Got it? Okay. What does the sperm cell deliver? Here it is. It's saying that comets possess the building blocks of life. Now watch this. Let's go back and remind ourselves. What does the sperm cell deliver? Here's what it delivers. This is from the National Institute of Health as the source. Sperm are highly adapted to delivering what? Their DNA to the egg. Sperm delivers the DNA. But guess what? It says right up here. It says right up here about comets that they possess the building blocks of life. DNA is the building blocks of life. Watch this. What is DNA? What is DNA? DNA right here from the, what is the source? I want to make sure I get the National Cancer Institute. Okay. So this came from the National Cancer Institute. DNA is made up of what? DNA is made up of what? 4 building blocks called nucleotides. They are made of 4 building blocks. So DNA possesses the building blocks. Watch this. Watch this. Okay. So now let's hear it. Here it is. Watch this. So the comet and the sperm cell. The comet and the sperm cell not only have similar physical appearances or descriptions of a head and a tail, but they also both carry DNA. Look at that. They also both carry DNA. Okay, well, let's keep investigating. Let's keep doing it. Here's the precept. Is there DNA on comets? Is there DNA on comets? Here's the precept. Here's from another source. The molecular building blocks of life are organic compounds that can be assembled into what? Proteins, RNA and DNA in living cells. To date, scientists have found most of these compounds in what? Meteorites, comets, and interstellar dust. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's keep pushing the issue, DARRYL KOSMON. Let's read the headline from Science News. It says all of the bases of DNA and RNA have now been found in what? Meteorites. Uh-oh. It's looking pretty dangerous now, ain't it? Huh? Okay. Well, let's keep on going. Look at the physical description right here. Here it is. Look. It's okay. So look. So if the sperm cell carries the DNA to the egg, do comets and space dust carry these life-producing substances to the Earth? I'm gonna say that one more time. So if the sperm cell carries the DNA to the egg, do comets that also possess DNA, do they carry these life-producing substances of the building blocks of life? Did they carry them to the Earth? Did they carry them to the Earth? Now, before we get into the additional sources, we're going to read from the book of Jehovah. I want y'all to remember this question right here. We're going to read from the book of Jehovah, chapter 5, verse 12 through 14. Watch this. The Great Spirit said, and this shall be testimony before all men that I created each and all the living after their own kind. Such is my person and my spirit, being from everlasting to everlasting. And when I bring a new world into the time of Simu, we read this earlier in the presentation about Semu. When I bring a new world into the time of Semu, my presence quickens the substance into life. And according to the locality and the surroundings, I bring forth the different species, for they are flesh of my flesh and spirit of my spirit. To themselves, I gave to themselves. Nevertheless, they are all members of my person. We are all members of creation. We are all members of the created universe. Now, hold on. Watch this. This is what I want y'all to pay attention to right here in verse 14. Pay attention to verse 14. As a testimony to man, behold, the earth was once a globe of liquid fire. We went over that already. Nor was there any seed on it, nor was there any seed on the earth. But in due season, I did what? I rained down Samu on the earth. Now, if y'all been paying attention and y'all putting 2 and 2 together, y'all know where I'm going with this. If sperm cell carries the DNA, and comets carry the DNA. And what does the Creator say right here? I rained down Samu on the earth. Watch this. What is Semu? What is Semu? In a WASP glossary, this is what Semu is. Semu is commingled earth, air, water, heat, and thick atmosphere. But I want y'all to pay attention to this. Semu is protoplasm-like. This Semu that Owaski speaks of is protoplasm-like. Okay, well then now that raises more questions. Well, what is protoplasm? I want y'all to pay attention. We're getting there. Watch this. What is protoplasm? Protoplasm is a physically translucent, granular, slimy, semi-fluid, or viscous. In it, there are granules of different shapes and sizes. These are granules are called small molecules. That's what, or substances. That's what a granule is. And these granules are of different shapes and sizes are suspended in solution. Now, wait a minute now. Now, this almost sounds like semen or semen. This semu sounds similar to semen, but then the way this protoplasm is described, it sounds like semen. Now, y'all think I'm crazy, but hold on. Now, when you define semen, after you define protoplasm, look at the similarities that I highlighted in orange. What is semen? It is a viscid, whitish fluid of the male reproductive tract consisting of spermatozoa suspended in secretions. But wait a minute. So look, both of these right here, a cosmic semen. I want y'all to let that sink in for a second. This means that Samu is a cosmic semen. I already called a sperm cell a biological comet, but now I'm calling Semu a cosmic semen. Watch this. I want this to be funny to y'all because watch how I break this. Watch how this get broken down with the sources. Okay, watch this. Okay, so Samu is a protoplasm-like substance. Watch this. Let's break it down. Watch this. Why did I come to this? Samu is a protoplasm-like substance. Protoplasm is viscous, slimy, and gummy, and contains granules, meaning small particles or substance suspended in solution. Semen is also viscous, is slimy or gummy, and contains granules, small particles in solution, such as the sperm cell, and they're suspended in solution. Watch this. Watch this. So here's the next question. Here's the next question then. Is there DNA in protoplasm? Okay, so let's read from Wikipedia real quick. I know y'all don't like Wikipedia, but hey, I've been using some good sources up until now. But watch this. Is there DNA in this protoplasm? Okay, there are about 35 elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, calcium, and many others which are identified in protoplasm of different cells. They form compounds. Look, they form compounds like water, carbohydrates, ions, proteins, lipids, and guess what? Protoplasm also possess DNA and RNA. Wow. We're getting closer to something here. We're getting closer to something here. Okay, so let's put it together. Okay, so protoplasm and semen, they're both viscous, they're both slimy and gummy, they contain granules and small particles, and they're both suspended in solution, and they both possess DNA. They both possess DNA. Okay, well, here's the next question. If DNA has been discovered on comets, is DNA on comets in the substance we call protoplasm? Does DNA exist on comets in the form of protoplasm? Okay, watch this. Now remember, Book of Jehovah 12 through 14, it states, or Book of Jehovah 14, it stated this. It says, as a testimony to man, behold, the earth was once a globe of liquid fire, nor was there any seed on it. But in due season, I rained down Samu on the earth and created the living. Watch this next source. Is protoplasm on, does comets carry DNA in protoplasm? Huh? Is there protoplasm on comets carrying DNA? Watch this. Oumuamua, I don't know how to pronounce that damn name. Oumuamua changed things. What is Oumuamua? It's a cosmic visitor, a comet. When this cosmic visitor, scientists aren't sure if this is a 700-foot long object. If this 7 foot, sorry, oh my God, let me start over. Oumuamua changed things. When this cosmic visitor sailed through our solar system last year, they don't know if it's an asteroid or a comet. When this cosmic visitor sailed through our solar system last year, the Harvard scientists realized that large objects might be able to do what? To seed life. To seed life over light years of distance, even across the galaxy. But check this out, y'all. This is possible, they suggest, because there are ways to accelerate the bio package to velocities far greater than any dirt clod, and have it gravitationally captured by some other star system where it hangs around. Eventually collides with a planet and delivers what? This comet delivers what? A protoplasm filled package. Huh? It delivers a protoplasm filled package. Hmm? Precept upon precept. Look, the discovery by an international team with NASA researchers gives more evidence that chemical reactions in asteroids can make some of life's ingredients, which could have been delivered to ancient Earth by meteorite impacts or perhaps the infall of dust. This is an article written April 26, 2022, in NASA. How did Owaspy know the existence of Simu, which is protoplasm on comets, in 1881? Hmm? How? Here we go. That was just the first stage of vortex, but these next stages go pretty quick. Second stage of vortex, period of nebula formation and conjunction of the eccentric cores. Also the beginning of the cyclic position. See, there's the second phase of vortex, the sperm cell. The first one was the DNA. The second one is the sperm cell. The third age of vortex is called it's called work. Now called work because the condensing nebula engenders heat within the embryonic world. There's the illustration right there from a wasp in 1881. There's a sperm cell entering the egg. Here are comets colliding with the star or planet being formed. This is what happens. This is the third age of vortex. Now here's the fourth age of vortex. The fourth age of vortex is called the inqua. It's a ball within a ball. It's a ball within a ball. That's what the fourth stage is. The now called inqua, a ball within a ball, or a womb of vapor that is a ball of corpora within a sphere of air. The earth is surrounded by the earth is in a gaseous ball called the atmosphere. And then, like matter, there's our human inside the amniotic sac. It's a world within the world. We got the baby inside the amniotic sac, inside the womb, and we got the earth inside the womb of atmosphere. Hmm? 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 If we look even deeper, will we still find signs of vortex? We found signs of vortex in the DNA. We found signs of vortex in the sperm cell. What about this? Look, we find signs of vortex also in the umbilical cord. We find signs of vortex in the umbilical cord. Check it out. Here's the source, the Journal of Pediatrics. It says the umbilical cord is also what? Spiraled. It says the umbilical cord is also what? Spiraled. A counterclockwise spiral is more frequent than a clockwise spiral. The origin of umbilical cord coiling is what? Unknown. They don't even know why or how the umbilical cord coils. But we showed y'all on many levels before the umbilical cord is even developed that there is spinning. There is vortex taking place in our embryological development. Check it out. It says the origin of the umbilical cord coiling is unknown. But check out the hypothesis they made just after the information I provided everybody. It says hypotheses include fetal movements, active or passive torsion on the embryo. Well, damn, we've been over that already. So we years ahead of them. They hypothesize that some torsion has been taking place in the fetal world, on the fetal level. I'm showing vortex in the spinal, in the umbilical cord. I ain't making this up. It exists. What is torsion? Torsion is the state of what? Being twisted. It is a state of being twisted, Now let's go even deeper. What is the function of the umbilical cord? Okay, well, the umbilical cord is considered both the physical and emotional attachment between mother and fetus. But check it out. The structure does what? It allows for the transfer of oxygen and nutrients from the maternal circulation into fetal circulation while simultaneously removing waste products. But check it out. It allows for the transfer of oxygen and nutrients. So oxygen and nutrients does what? It spirals and circulates throughout the umbilical cord, just much like how vortex does what? Pulls substance toward the center. It pulls substance toward the center. So all the oxygen and all the nutrients, all the irons and the zincs and all the healthy metals and all the healthy vitamins, they get driven toward the center of our being to develop the embryo. Wow. The same way the vortex drives substances toward the center to create the sun, moon, and stars, in like manner do the nutrients spiral through the umbilical cord and are driven toward our center to develop our corporeal bodies. Come on now. Come on now. Book of Inspiration. Y'all think I'm crazy? Look what it's saying. Book of Inspiration, chapter 1, verse 24 and 25. Right here. Look. It says you are like the center. We are like the center. When we are attached to the umbilical cord being developed, we are the center. That's the center right there. We are like the center, and all things are coming to us what? From without. When we was in the womb and our mom was eating the food and the food was being digested and it was taking out the nutrients, huh? It was driven toward our center through the umbilical cord to develop us. Watch this. It says your knowledge, but wait up. It says your knowledge as well as what? Our corporeality came to us from the outside, huh? That from which is external to ourselves. Hmm? Hmm? But look, let's keep on pushing it though. It says the navel, or which is another name for the belly button, the official name for the belly button, the navel, the belly button. It takes varying shapes of the spiral pattern of our umbilical cord. Did y'all know that? The navel takes varying shapes of the spiral pattern of our umbilical cords and marks the center of our vortexian generation in the womb. Oh, y'all think I'm crazy? Let's look at all these umbilical cord shapes. I'm sorry, let's look at these belly button shapes taken of babies, and then let's look at these galaxies and compare the resemblance. Y'all see how some belly buttons when they heal, they spiral? Huh? Y'all see how some belly buttons when they heal, they're regular, like these galaxies right here. Some of them are regular, huh? Some of them don't come out of perfect spiral. Look at this, huh? So when we look at the belly button, when we look at our navels, that's the center of our corporeal generation while we was in the womb. For each and every corporeal world, I created a vortex first. That's what the creator said, huh? Huh? Oh, wait, y'all thought it was over? This ain't even over yet. Oh, wait a minute. Wait till y'all see this one. Let's talk about the spiral pattern during development. This source is the medical journal, the SA Medical Journal, South African Medical Journal. Look, the spiral pattern during development. Check out the spiral pattern during development. Look, the creator said this. The creator said, for each and every corporeal world, I created a vortex first. I created a vortex first. Y'all know what we look like when we embryos? Look at that. We all curled up and spiraled in the womb like this early on. Hmm? Hmm? Okay, well, let's read the source. What does the source have to say about this? The underlying process by which the animal ovum becomes transferred into the fully developed animal remains one of the mysteries of biology. While examining early vertebrate embryos, it was observed that the cells are not haphazardly clumped together, as is generally described, but are in fact arranged in a spiral pattern consisting of two helical spirals alongside each other. Look at this, y'all. This is what we look like in the womb. Hmm? 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 Curled up like a vortex. Huh? Hmm? 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 An investigation was therefore decided upon to determine to what extent, if any, this spiral pattern persists during embryological development. It is the aim of this article to demonstrate that if carefully looked for what? Reading, carefully observed, we went over this in the beginning of the presentation. If carefully looked for and interpreted, a spiral pattern can be detected throughout the stages of what? Embryological development. Huh? Huh? How did a WASP get this information in 1881? Huh? How did a WASP get this information in 1881? Hmm? Hey, we ain't even done yet. We ain't even done yet. Did y'all know this? Did y'all know that human eggs emit zinc sparks at the moment of fertilization? Did y'all know that human eggs emit zinc sparks at the moment of fertilization? Huh? This is the source from US News. It says when a sperm meets an egg, sparks fly. Huh? When a sperm meets an egg, sparks fly, literally. According to a study published in Scientific Reports, an explosion of zinc fireworks occurs when a human egg is activated by a sperm enzyme. The intensity of the sparks, scientists say, indicates the egg's potential to develop into a healthy embryo. Huh? Now hold on. Now watch this. Watch this in Book of Judgment, chapter 2, verse 24. Huh? Watch this in Book of Judgment, chapter 2, verse 24. What does it say? It says, the Great Spirit says, out of the darkness, man is brought forth a what? A blank. And his entity is a what? A spark. It's a spark of the Great Spirit. Hold on. Out of the darkness, man is brought forth a blank, and his entity is a what? A spark of the Great Spirit. Now, wait a minute. Here it is right here. It says his entity will never cease to grow. Yes, from the hour of what? From the hour of what? From the hour of what? From the hour of conception, it is a what? A new star in the world. Huh? It is a new star in the world. Wait, from the hour. Wait a minute. What you say? Wait a minute. Human eggs emit zinc sparks at the moment of fertilization. Huh? But wait a minute. In Book of Judgment, chapter 2, verse 24, it states, wait a minute. It say, wait a minute. Yes, from the hour of conception, from the hour of conception, it say, what a new star in the world. And it magnifies itself forever. Hmm? How? 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 Huh? How? How in 1881 did Owaspy get this information? This is vortex on a biological, embryological level. We showed it in the cosmos. Then we showed it in development, in the embryological development. We showed it. We show and improving. We show and improving. Hmm? Huh? Book of Judgment, chapter 20, verse 8 through 10, and verses 13 through 14. It says this. It says, because of the ever presence of Jehovah, we were quickened into a conscious being. As our earth bodies is of the earth, so is our spirit of Jehovah, the great spirit. Nevertheless, spirit is the opposite of corporeal life. For the latter comes to an end, but the spirit of man is what? A tree of everlasting life. Our spirit grows by cultivation, which is the practice of wisdom, the practice of truth, the practice of virtue, the practice of benevolence, and affiliation with others. Do not think that the soul grows by prayers or confessions to this God or that God. Do not think that the soul grows by confessions, prayers and confessions to this God or that God. For no one shall be exalted for words without works. Yet in whatever God you firmly believe, you may worship him, for guess what? He is your choice. He is your choice, nor shall any man prevent you in this liberty. Huh? I'm not twisting anybody's arm to believe this information. I'm just presenting it to you. I'm not telling you need to believe it. Huh? You got to see it for yourself. You can keep your God. You can keep your Bible. I'm not telling you to abandon it. That's a choice that you have to make. That's not a choice that any man can make for you. Huh? And I said at the beginning of this presentation that the Creator does not want us bound to any books. The Creator said that the inspiration comes less by books. That includes a WASPy. The inspiration comes less by books than by what the Great Spirit wrote. And that's his created universe. That's his reality. So a WASPy ain't even an end all be all. Huh? So keep your God. Because once you're ready to denounce or renounce any God, that's a choice that you got to make. That's your liberty. That's a matter that's on you. But check it out. Nevertheless, if you worship a God, then let such God be a role model to you to cast your eyes into your own soul, to introspect. We talked about that at the beginning. To introspect. You got to cast your eyes into your own soul and examine and introspect what your inspiration is that you receive from that which was external to you. The God we choose to follow is a role model. So if you have a God that tells you to sacrifice your kids, and you would willingly sacrifice your kids if that God told you to, that's the reason why you would, because you chose that God as a role model. If you hate the white man, or if you hate Esau, it's because your God hates Esau and hates the white man or whatever it is, and you follow right behind him. If your God is angry and jealous and want war, then guess what? You're going to be angry and wrathful and want war too. Why? Because a God you chose is your role model. If your God allows you to smite other nations and to even kill the babies who are innocent to the universe, that's what your soul gonna be filled up with. Just being genuine about it. Just be real with yourself. Just be genuine. In that respect, it is no sin to worship any good ideal whom you shall emulate in your behavior. Let me see, it's 9:30. We started at what, 7? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and hold on. I'm trying to think what I'm gonna do. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and close it. It's getting late. A lot of the stuff I'm not gonna be able to touch on, but check it out. I'm gonna go ahead and close it up. I'm gonna wrap it up saying this, y'all. Look, I'm gonna wrap it up and say this. I prove vortex on a cosmic level. I prove vortex on a biological level. Okay, that's all I'm gonna give y'all tonight. But I'm gonna shut it down like this. In the Book of Inspiration, chapter 1, verse 23 to 25, it states this: as the whirlwind gathers up dust and drives it toward the center, so is the plan of my created universe. We are like the center, and all things come to us from without. Our knowledge, as well as our corporality, came to us from the outside, from that which is external to ourselves. And so, look, for each and every corporeal world, this is what the Creator stated. For each and every corporeal world, the Great Spirit created a vortex first. So before we can let there be light, there must first be vortex. Love and light to your family. Love and light. Love and light. Look, I'm gonna stay on for another half hour to 10. If Kareem is up for it, I'm gonna let people come on in and ask their questions, or get their feelings out, whatever it is they want to do. I'm gonna go ahead and chill for another half hour and let that happen. So go ahead, Kareem, go ahead and drop the link. Let's go ahead and drop the link and we can chop it up. Y'all come on in. Open discussion.